Yes, I do. The main one probably next, and I'd like in the next 2 years max, is a train the trainer program. So my work already reaches globally. So people I've trained in America and Canada, France, Belgium, Spain, Italy, as well as the UK. But because, as I said, I work with small numbers, it is slow, it's paced. And I'm not going to increase the numbers I work with. But if I can train other coaches to train other coaches, then it's going to increase.
Welcome to Career Coaching Secrets, the podcast where we talk with successful career coaches on how they built their success and the hard lessons they learned along the way. My name is Davis Nguyen, and I'm the founder of Purple Circle, where we help career coaches scale their business to $100,000 years, $100,000 months, and even $100,000 weeks. Before Purple Circle, I've grown several 7- and 8-figure career coaching businesses myself, and have been a consultant at 2 career coaching businesses that are doing over $100 million each. Whether you're an established coach or building your practice for the first time, you'll discover the secrets to elevating your coaching business.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Career Coaching Secrets podcast. I'm your host Rexhen, and today's guest is Andrea Watts, founder of UnglueYou, the first specialist to pioneer coaching with Collage and creator of Collage Coaching Technique, CCT, a trainer, speaker, and author of Collage as creative coaching tool. Collage 2022 as work helps clients bypass the limits of language to access the unconscious, unlocking self-awareness, alignment, and meaningful change from the inside out. Through questioning, storytelling, and reflection on the imagery clients assemble, Andrea creates a safe, non-judgmental space where deep insights surface fast, often faster than traditional talk-only approaches. She delivers one-on-one coaching, group workshops, accredited coach training, and talks at the intersection of creativity, neuroscience, and human development. Her CCT training has even been used by internal coaching teams within large organizations, and it's a pleasure for me to have her on the podcast today. Welcome to the show, Andrea.
Thank you, Rexhen. Thank you for inviting me along.
Thank you for coming, Andrea. I wanted to talk to you about your beginnings as a coach. Wanted to understand, when it comes to your coaching business, how long has it been since you started? When we think about UnglueYou, it's been around, according to LinkedIn, almost 13 years, right?
It's actually nearly 14. November the 1st will be 14 years. So yeah, I've been going a while.
Wow, amazing. And so how did that all get started? What inspired you to start this, become a coach, and have it as a coaching business?
It started when I actually felt stuck in a job, the one I had before this. And I used to work in the voluntary sector in the UK. And it reached a stage where the job I was in, I just felt very overwhelmed. I knew it was affecting my well-being. We'd had massive cuts financially and in terms of staff redundancy. So there was a lot of pressure on me as one of the managers who was left. And I knew that I needed to do something because my well-being was impacted. And importantly, I felt I'm becoming somebody else, somebody I don't even like. So I knew I had to change something. I went to see a careers coach. She did a visualization exercise with me where she asked me where I wanted to be in 1, 5, 10, etc. years. And she said I talked a lot about doors opening. And because she knows I'm an artist, she said, go away and draw it. So I drew it, and the little stick figures, they just really weren't cutting it. So I did what I do. I created a collage. And I think because I'd done an art therapy foundation course, I found myself instinctively working with my unconscious. So I created this collage, and on it was this woman in red, and she was dancing. And I thought, I don't know what I want to do, but I do know how I want to feel. But before that, the image that really made me move away from that job into coaching was a girl under a blanket. And when I saw it, I kind of went, oh my days, that's how I feel. It gave me expression for what I'd been unable to articulate before. And I had the words to describe the sensation of feeling lost and covered up and unheard. And so between those two images, being covered up and then wanting to be the woman in red dancing and how that felt, that creativity, authenticity, I left that job and I saved and I moved into coaching because I wanted other people to be able to experience the freedom I'd known through that process, that connection and that real deep self-awareness that gave me the confidence to move out of my job into coaching. So I wanted to share that with others.
And so now, beyond these 14 years of working with your coaching business, with UnglueYou, and working with your clients, going through the coaching journey with them, what about it do you find most rewarding?
Just seeing somebody using the collage coaching technique, creating their own collage, having the same experience, and then their lives being so different. Somebody will go from feeling stuck, uncertain, lacking confidence, lacking clarity, to feeling very confident about themselves, knowing who they are, being able to live in alignment and have a real core sense of this is who I am, this is what I like. I can make choices that enrich my life rather than diminish my life. And so being able to witness that, having people share their personal stories with me through their collage, that is so powerful and it enriches my life. And that's the second part, seeing my clients' lives change, but also witnessing that and the joy that it brings to me as well. Well, my ideal client are actually other coaches, and they are coaches who want to coach aligned to their authentic self, because we can get really caught up in performance type coaching and working in ways that other people say we should do, or we trained in a certain way, but actually doesn't fit who we are. So I work with other coaches and I support them through the process to find, and this also helps them with their ideal clients and their niche. They're very clear about this is who I am, this is how I want to coach, this is how I want to show up. So they're my ideal clients. I think as well because the work is so reflective and it's deep coaching. So you're working with emotions, you're working with behavioral shifts. It's not pure goal setting. And so because coaches are typically more used to that kind of way of working, it really suits them. And also many coaches then can use the process when they do the training, use the process for their coaching as well.
And how is it like to work with you? Is there a certain program of a certain length that they go through? We talked about having one-on-one coaching, group workshops. Could you explain a little bit more in detail on how it works to what is the engagement of working with you?
So usually what people do is they come in via a webinar, or they'll come directly into my training program. So I do a foundational training followed by skills-based training, both of which marry both professional development, but also coaches get a chance to think about themselves, because the theme is what I want for my coaching career. So think about that alignment and that authenticity. So they come in there, and then after creating their collage, I always work with small groups. It's really important to me to get that really meaningful engagement. Small groups, up to 8. They do that, and then they have a choice. They can go and do the skills-based training. My training is accredited by both the ICF and the Association for Coaching. Or they can do one-to-ones, and my one-to-ones do 6, 9, or a 12 session program. Most people choose the 12 session because it really allows that transformation, and it's self-paced, so they choose when they want to come. Or they can go on to a group workshop. Again, the numbers stay small. It's for people who prefer to be in that kind of group environment rather than the one-to-one. And then once they're in there, they can move about. People, they might do introductory training, skills-based training, then one-to-one, then group. So there's this flow through it as well. And I've also recently started a WhatsApp group, because the community of people who use the techniques, really important to me that we support each other and share ideas and our story.
And how long does it take for coaches to see meaningful change?
Typically, this is going to sound really like, whoa, but in the first session, because because it bypasses that editing and dismissing that language brings, it allows us to really get to the core of either what can be keeping us stuck, because my work is also about what makes you feel uncomfortable, why are you stuck, what are your mindsets, as well as these are my strengths, these are my values, this is what's important to me, and they all appear on the collage together. So people literally get insights in that session, in the way I did with the girl under the blanket. It's that, whoa, I didn't know that was there, but now I can do something about it.
And where do people usually find you? You mentioned that they come through some webinar, but when we think about before that, do they find you on social media? Is it LinkedIn? Is it referrals? How do they get in touch with you marketing wise?
Yeah, Rexhen, you've kind of nailed it there. It's LinkedIn primarily, because that's the only social media platform I actually use. LinkedIn, my website, and word of mouth is a big thing. And I give a lot of presentations. That's what I love doing, educating other people. So I speak at universities, I speak to coaching groups about the science beside the art. And so people find me through that route as well. And podcasts.
Cool, amazing. I'm glad we got a podcast too together. I feel like a lot of coaches are going to be listening to this and might be interested in learning more about you. But I wanted to learn a little bit more myself as well. So when thinking about the future of UnglueYou for the next 1 to 3 years, do you have specific goals that you're working towards for this company?
Yes, I do. The main one probably next, and I'd like in the next 2 years max, is a train the trainer program. So my work already reaches globally. So people I've trained in America and Canada, France, Belgium, Spain, Italy, as well as the UK. But because, as I said, I work with small numbers, it is slow, it's paced. And I'm not going to increase the numbers I work with. But if I can train other coaches to train other coaches, then it's going to increase more. It will have this ripple effect. So that's really important to me, to believe that, so that I'm not the only one who's able to teach others how to use collage coaching technique.
Cool. So you're thinking of hiring coaches within your organization that you would train and they will basically train and work with your clients. Is that what you meant?
Yeah, what I mean is, so when people have completed the skills-based training, they then continue working with me. They might do peer practice, they have supervision, we have a membership site. So they're getting lots of information, they're continually growing. Those coaches will be the ones invited to learn how to deliver the training that I do. So they could then train other people how to use it. And I already have some people who are interested, they're just waiting for me to get on and do it. So yeah, that's the training.
So you're thinking of kind of like licensing your approach, or you would basically hire these coaches?
It would be like a licensing model rather
Hmm.
than hiring them. And then once they have trained, then if I need support, and even now some of the ones who have done the skills-based training, I can look to them and say, can you do this piece of work for me? Like associates.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Cool. What would you say are some challenges that you're facing right now in getting to this goal? Is there, and you can think about it short term too, what is a challenge right now in your coaching business you're trying to solve for next?
Yeah, so the couple there's around this train the trainer program is the tech side of it. I'm quite tech savvy, but I know it's going to require more looking at things differently than how I do at the moment. And I remember when I created the training program, just stepping back from what you do and having to think, it's almost like reverse engineer the training in order to create it. That's quite time consuming. And when you're trying to still run the business, and I do have support, I have a VA, I have a web developer, but when you're trying to run it and develop something that's quite big, that can be challenging. And the other challenge, I guess, is in this idea of making it bigger, is retaining that authenticity. People are important to me, relationships are important. I could scale and just say I'm going to train 12 people at one time, but that wouldn't work for me. And I don't think people would get as much from it. So that's the challenge, scaling while also staying true to my values and what is right for the
It
program.
makes a lot of sense, actually. And it's like when thinking about scaling that way and you're still doing one-on-one coaching, you only have so much hours in a day. Some of it would have to be your work being put on the business, and the rest of it would be like in coaching and expanding your offers as well. So it does get, it is hard to scale unless you're like hiring coaches to work for you full time, in which case they can take on some of the in workings of your business, and you can work more on the business itself and try to develop it. So it makes a lot of sense to me. And you want to make sure you deliver the same results as well for the clients that you have. Throughout time, what with your coaching business, what investments have you done that you feel like either were very good investments you got a good return from, or investments that you learned a lot from? And the second part of this question is, what are some investments that you would have preferred to have avoided? So we're looking for good and bad investments at the same time.
Okay. So good ones, I think, like I mentioned, my VA, that's been a good long-term investment, and the web developer, because my thing is that I actually like doing the website, but it's not the best use of my time. So having somebody else do that, and then you can just hand things over. And it's that thing about concentrating my energy and efforts where it's going to be best served, which speaks to what you were saying, right? While also holding on to those things that make me enjoy coaching rather than giving it all out. And so there was that. Also, I invested in webinar training, which was really good. I learned a lot that's made quite an impact because it was a bit broader than just delivering a webinar. It was things about our offers and packaging. And then I signed up for a year's course with that person. Not so good, but this is more early on. I remember spending money on, it was a landing page, how to make a landing page. I never used it. I went to a webinar, said, I thought that'd be great. I spent it. No, that was not a good idea. I once had a coach that was not the kind of coach that was right for me. It was, again, quite early on. Didn't realise that was not going to work for me. And I learned that thing, you asked, and I took away, I will never use that sort of coach again. It was pure goal setting, and that doesn't work for me. And that was quite a big investment. So, yeah. But yeah, I'd say those things.
Cool. Thank you. Thanks so much for sharing that. And when we think about investing in marketing pieces or like the landing page with the funnel, timing it is very important. You think about timing it at a point where you are very familiar with the type of copy that actually works really well with your audience very well too. And you've done some testings yourself, and then you have like a professional actually work on optimizing the landing page or building a new landing page or a funnel. So it makes a lot of sense to me that would be an investment that did not yield a lot of results, especially due to timing, from my perspective.
Yes, exactly, Rexhen. And I think that's why the webinar one has been so good, because I knew what I wanted. And so it really fit. And the same with VAs, because I had VAs before, but I wasn't very clear about my offerings. And now, because I am, we can work together really well. I'm clear what I need her to do for me, and what I can do myself.
And my final question to you is, and this is for other coaches who are listening, what advice would you give to other coaches who are trying to scale their impact? And in a way, you're also trying to scale your impact by working with more coaches. Those coaches have their clients. It's kind of like ripples down as an impact. And it would be like an advice you'd give to yourself as well. So what advice would you give to these coaches trying to scale their impact?
I would say, one, pause and really think about why you want to scale the impact and where you want to do it. There's something about just taking time to let that really percolate. And then for me, I think because I do the arts-based coaching, I really look at it not just through the lens of very practical, but try using maybe an arts-based or creative technique to think about it differently, just to give you other ideas and perspectives. And then to be kind to yourself and accept that it might take you longer than you anticipate, because mine has taken me longer, and sometimes it's been really frustrating because you can see you've got vision, don't you, where you want it to be, and you just really want it to get there, but it takes time, and kind of like enjoying that journey rather than struggling with it. So it's not like kind of core practical advice, but it is advice that I think would help other coaches who may be in the same position as me and can see the vision but aren't there yet, and it's going to take.
Thank you so much, Andrea, and thank you so much for coming to our podcast today. It was a pleasure to have you on. For anyone who wants to connect with you or find you, they can go into LinkedIn, look up Andrea Watts. They'll be able to find your profile, and they can also go to the website UnglueYou.co.uk, and they'll be able to find you there as well.
Thank you, Rexhen. And when they look on LinkedIn, if you put UnglueYou as well, you'll get the right Andrea Watts first time. So yes, thank you very much for having me on your podcast. It's been a pleasure to your listeners.
Thank you for coming, Andrea. It was a pleasure to have you on.
That's it for this episode of Career Coaching Secrets. If you enjoyed this conversation, you can subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you're listening to this episode to catch future episodes. This podcast was brought to you by Purple Circle, where we help career coaches scale their business to $100,000 years, $100,000 months, or even $100,000 weeks, all without burning out and making sure that you're making the impact and having the life that you want. To learn more about our community and how we can help you, visit joinpurplecircle.com.